and they're trying to run plow and lay line this afternoon. Back probably about a year or so ago, well, probably a little longer than a year, it may be closer, because I've renewed the bond. The entrance going into our 27.5 acres of commercial property that's coming across, comes out straight across from the Hampton Inn. The entrance to that, I applied for a permit with the state to allow us to build an entrance there. The state gave us the specs of how it had to be, what had to be. The city could not really afford to.
You got that?
The city couldn't really afford to build that access going in there the way for all of the covers and the drainage and the asphalt and the curbing and everything that how the state wanted it. And I felt like that the city, we needed that, be that much ahead of the game if we try to develop that commercial property there. So I reached out to one before my permit run out again, because I got it permitted, and I reached out to Warren, and we've been back and forth about different things on how the city might pay for that. Basically, long story short, is we've come up with a plan to let Warren Ballard Builders build that entrance and build an access road from that entrance over to the industrial park across our what I call the commercial 27.5 acres. Ballard Builders will build that entrance and build a rough NA road from that entrance over to the 100-acre industrial site to get to the 20-some-odd acres that they're wanting to develop on the north side of that industrial park. We've got a rough estimate here. If anybody's, I'll go through this real quick. Like if anybody's got any for the grade and the drain, getting everything ready for the entrance like it needs to be and finished. Had an engineer to do a cost estimate for me on it. It was $296,625. Their job is to build that entrance, rough that road in all the way across there where it'd be travelable, which we won't pave it at this time because until that develops in that 20, if we start getting developments in that 27.5 acres, we'll go back and do, because there'll be changes in the road and entrance and changes of how it's laid out and different things, and it'd be kind of a waste of money to have it paved at this time. And with that, they're part of having to construct that and build that entrance and build that, rough that road in across that property. This property is across the road over here behind the city shop that lays over there that we've, I think, been two years or maybe 3 years now, that the council agreed to purchase from Ballard, but we've never paid him for it because of lack of funds. That property is going to go in with the building of this entrance and that road in lieu of that property on that north side, that 20 acres, which is down in that, that's the slope part of that property.
We're gonna get that 3 acres back, right?
Yeah, and they're going to, they'll be required to be a business put in there. We haven't got the exact pinpointed down exactly what business is going to be and what kind of tax revenue yet that's going to be generated. But I feel like that we're well cushioned enough with the way what we're requiring them to do to be able to get that 20 acres that will be covered for us justifying what we're doing. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. They're ready to get that entrance built, which I'm ready to get that entrance built. I believe that's going to be a major help in getting something on that 27.5 acres, getting it, because it's gotta be done before we put anything in there. You have to have the entrance to it. With that, if this, when we do this, if it's agreeable with the council and the public, when we start this, at the same time, which it went out for bid today because of yesterday, because I've got calls on, from different contractors about dirt, where to take it, where to get it, on the industrial park, on the south side of the interstate where the Tiffin is, that road that we've never, that I feel like should have been done last March. It went out for bid now, so it's probably within 30, 45 days, that paving project will be started, and that road will get to what I call the top of the hill in the middle of that industrial park. I believe with those two projects both going, I think that it's going to be wide open for us this coming year for us. I feel like there's not going to be much left at the industrial park that we can put in there from other things that I'm working on. So, is any of the public got any questions for me for what we're trying to do up there on it? It's the North 20. Is everybody familiar with how that property lays out? If I know Bobby is, the sewer goes all the way to where that road's going to end, where that proposed road's going to end pretty much now, doesn't it? And then we're on downhill part. Then, there's Tiffany's pumping up the west side of that of our property now. They're pumping to the top of the hill out to the interstate, out to 129. We've got sewer within 200, was it 600? How many feet was it that we stopped that sewer line from the end of that property that comes in behind the Huddle House?
It goes to about the end of the pavement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be 200 or 300 feet shy of making it to the ditch. Mm-hmm. So we're back close to what I'd say pretty much where we can access sewer to that development, which is a major, and I think we're already where we can do it on the 27.5 acres because it runs right in front of it on gravity. I know we're just a little bit before the council didn't start. Anybody got any questions?
Suggestions, objections, anything?
Yeah, anybody got any kind of, no, that ain't gonna work. Kind of like the mobile home deal was a couple of years ago, 4 years ago. If not, I'm gonna ask to go out of the public hearing. I don't know that we take action, go ahead and out of the, we're gonna go out of public hearing and go ahead and go into the council meeting. Y'all ready? If nobody's got anything.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for another day of life. Thank you for all your many blessings. I ask you to continue to be with this governing body as we try to lead our city in the best way possible. I ask this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need your grease, President. There's a lot of crud and stuff going around and flu, and maybe we could safely big major coronavirus or whatever, but Brett been diagnosed with pneumonia and bronchitis, so we need to remember him, he was out and about today, but I think he's kind of weak. Things like this. I've always, when I was growing up, hardly heard of somebody getting pneumonia. Now it seems like it's common as a common cold or the flu or whatever with pneumonia now. I reckon some of it's contagious pneumonia, and I never, you know, I need to go back to medical school, I guess, to try to figure out how all that's coming about. But anyway, you know what's going on. Try to stay where you won't be getting sick, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Be coughing.
Trying to get Rusty to move back there away from me, so we're coughing on him.
First item on the agenda, first I want to welcome everybody to February the 25th, 2020 Winfield City Council meeting. First item on the agenda is approve the minutes from the February 4th, 2020 council meeting. Need to ask for motion. If nobody's got any question how they're written or got any comment, need to ask for motion to approve them.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? The next item on the agenda is the results of the public hearing. I need to ask for a motion to accept the results of the public hearing in a second that we just went through.
There was no opposition or objection.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All in favor? All right. The next item on the agenda is the Housing Abatement Board member. Let me find that paperwork. 1,700 sheets.
The next page.
They, the reason, I guess everybody probably knows the reason we're having to have a board member, so we lost Ray McGahey. His time to leave us. We've got I believe a good candidate here that I'm going, based on recommendation, I'm going to recommend Gina Estes. She's willing to serve on that board, take Ray's place on that board. If nobody else got anything to add or take away, I'd like to ask y'all to give a motion to go ahead. We've reached out to her. She's willing to take that position, take his position on the abatement board. Kind of when this weather breaks, I hope to see that board in action. I've already been working on some stuff with Sandy back and forth on a few things on it to try to get fired up and going. But if nobody's got any objection, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Next item on the agenda is Tree City Board member. I don't know if y'all have got a list of, we've got more boards than you think we do a lot of times. We've got some boards that's never really utilized unless it's something comes up. We need to replace on the Tree City Board. It's kind of been in lingo just a little bit. Danny, Debbie's husband, was on that board, and we lost Danny off that board, and we'd like to add Gina Bryant to that board. If anybody's I recommend that we put her on that board unless anybody's got any objection or any other comments on it. The Tree City Board made up of 5 people. They were just out here this past week with the trees, giving the trees out, and they've got, I think they're saying we're one, I think he told me, if Mike in here, they told me that we're one of the oldest that's been in that, with the Tree City Board.
Next year will be 25 years that we've been on the Tree City Board.
We're gonna remember the Tree City Board.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? I think that's. he did, her, them two. All right, the next item on the agenda is cemetery lawn care bids through March 10th. I need to get the council to approve them to put this out for bid for the lawn care of the cemetery. They usually base it on 12 mowings and weed eating the whole entire cemetery. And this is what the bid will go out that we're gonna post. You're not actually mailing these, you're just putting it up for people to bid.
Post 3 places in town and then run it in the paper twice.
I need to ask for a motion to first take that push. Second. Anthony, all in favor? Put that out for bid, because I already seen some people already cutting weeds, wild onions or something. The next item on the agenda is Chief Allen Stovall. I want to speak on behalf of his part-time fireman.
Thank y'all. Speaking to that. The new shift that we're on now is working great. I think all the guys like it. One problem we've run into, we've managed it when we run into it so far, but is having someone call in sick. I had one day tell me he's going to be off one day at the end of March. That's a whole 24-hour shift. And when I get someone else then to come in and cover for somebody that's off like that, we get into overtime. And plus our guys, we've got some classes coming up. We're gonna have some guys taking classes. Just gonna be situations where I'm gonna be having to cover quite a bit. And some of these guys that I asked to cover a shift may be coming off of a 24-hour shift or fixing to go on a 24-hour shift. Some other cities does this, I thought it might actually save the city some money in some of these situations. If we could get some part-time guys from other fire departments, they have to be state certified. I can't use their volunteers. We've actually got one working for another department part-time. They do it quite a bit. So that's why I was mainly saying if I could get permission to go forward with that. I'd like to have 2 or 3 from different departments that I could just sort of have a pool to choose from, or pick the phone up and try to find somebody that might cover a shift from somewhere else.
You want to hire, you're wanting to hire them as part-time as needed.
But yeah, as needed.
You're not wanting to put anybody full-time, part-time.
No.
It's like a standby pool.
Basically standby, yeah.
And what are you requesting? What's you gonna request to pay these?
One of the department I've checked with pays them $10 an hour. Of course, it's cheaper than what we can have some of our guys work overtime for, number one, plus, benefits won't be involved.
And no staff. It's just $10 an hour with no staff.
Well, we talked about that today.
We can add them. I just done it.
On the insurance, on that policy, was it that we just took into effect on the fireman's insurance policy, those guys fit on that, go in on that part-time?
They should already be under whatever department they're working for. They're already covered.
They have to be full-time. They have to be full-time with 2 years to get on that insurance plan or not?
1 year, I think.
1 year.
The ones you're wanting to put in this code are working already at another fire department?
Yes, I spoke with one guy, just put some feeders out. I spoke with one of Hamilton's. He was very interested. And as far as cancer policy, he's covered under Hamilton's. Yeah,
So he'd still be covered under them working for us?
as far as that cancer policy goes, that he was asking about.
That's that one we're talking about, that's specific to firemen.
Yeah.
Because of
Full-time fire.
things that they're
Yeah.
exposed to.
Right.
It's a special policy that covers them.
Yes,
Yeah, see that?
you stayed all that started.
Yeah,
this year.
and they'll have their coverage.
Right.
As I understand it, what, all you're gonna be using is permission to use part-time firemen, must be state certified. Are all the folks that you're gonna be using as part-time firemen, or these filling positions, will they be full-time in firemen somewhere else?
Yes.
Okay, so it won't just be someone who's a state certified fireman who may not be working somewhere. These will be people that are working somewhere else and just be covering for it when we have a problem.
Right.
Okay.
Even on that cancer policy, if they're not full-time, it wouldn't cover, if it was, that's the way I understand that, right? Because it has to be a full-time fireman on the cancer policy.
Well, that's what the city's covering. That basically goes for our volunteers too. But,
So if it goes, we volunteers, don't go for full-time.
But we don't have to worry about that because they're gonna already be, they'll be required. That's the reason I asked that, for that clarification.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone who is a full-time fireman working somewhere else, that we're just using to fill in.
he's covered under the cancer policy.
Yeah,
And I don't think we're
Well,
required to
they'll-
carry it on volunteers, we're required to carry it on full-time.
Yeah, the city is. But it can apply for volunteers too. We've worked out the deal to get our volunteers covered too. Take care of them.
what about on-the-job injuries? Is that gonna be something that when they're part-time working here for us, are they covered under our,
Well, no,
for
that's.
on-the-job injuries?
We may be responsible for that. That's something I really haven't checked into, Todd, to be honest with you.
We're working with comps based on reporting it. So if he's
Well,
paid to report it,
Yeah, but
I see what you mean.
if their insurance, will their.
Yeah, because you kind of weigh that either way. They're coming in to take the place of somebody else.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of.
It's not just a part-time to come in just because we need a little extra help right then. It's to take a position while that position is not being, so I'd like to, these other places that are doing that, I'd like to, because I know we share, police officers share,
Yeah.
if they're certified, because you just can't go out and hire somebody off the street to be a fireman. They gotta be state certified, and generally if they are, they're working as a fireman somewhere. So, in those situations, I believe in the past where we've had worked with the police departments, we've had some kind of an agreement with the departments that we're sharing employees with, that when they're here, they're covered, when they're there, they're covered. And I'd like to look into that a little bit to make sure, because what we don't want to happen is we don't want a full-time fireman from Fayette coming here working part-time to cover a shift for us, get injured on the job, and because he's not working for Fayette, he doesn't have coverage, and because he's part-time here in Winfield, he doesn't have coverage, and all of a sudden, you've put a fireman who's just helping out to cover, you've put him in a situation where he's got an on-the-job injury and he has no coverage. He's just get a gap, and you don't want that to happen with our, and surely there's something we can work out with our carrier that in situations like that, they get covered.
I'd like to check into that.
Yeah.
Well, these other departments are doing it, they've come.
Yeah, they've done
Yeah,
that. So we need
there's
to-
something there. I
Yeah.
just don't have
Yeah.
that answer.
But we need to, because I want to make sure, I don't want anybody to think the question I'm asking is, oh Lord, we don't want them covered on our insurance. That's not the question I'm asking. The question I'm asking, I want to make sure that they are covered somewhere. Okay, whether it's here or whether it's there, I want them to be covered when they're working that position.
That's right.
So,
I can check on that.
Okay.
We'll look on that.
Great stuff here.
Work at it.
yeah, I mean, I think we can just agree to do that, so that we get everything worked out.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend that the council go ahead and vote and allow him to do that based on Todd find out the information.
Second.
All in favor? We'll let you know when to start calling, Alan.
And Alan, if you'll talk to some of those places and then let me know what they say and what they're doing,
Okay.
then I'll confirm that information and make sure that we get, I want them to be covered on some policy, whether it's ours or theirs, I want it to be covered.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll check on that.
The next item on the agenda is street department overtime. Councilman Hallmark would like to speak on behalf of the street department's overtime. Explain to us what the issue is.
Well, the way I understand it is, if it's 80 hours, after 80 hours, they get overtime. But if it's a holiday, then that 8 hours, when they get the holiday pay, they don't get overtime because they've had a holiday. And if they take off, it counts against them. They still don't get their 80 hours. They gotta have 80 hours before they can get the overtime, time and a half.
So
My thing is if they take off, that's their day, that's a personal day, it shouldn't count against them. I think if they have to come in on a storm or something like that, I think after their shift, it should be time and a half. If they have to come in. And their hours are from 7 to 3? 7 to 3:30. I think if Rob has to call them in, I think that they ought to be able to get time and a half.
Right now, after 80 hours, they're just getting straight pay. Do you think there's?
If it falls in a holiday of that week,
or in a 40-hour work week, if one of those days is a holiday, they lose that 8 hours.
You want this example? This really
That,
happened.
if what they're counting that 8 hours is part of the 40. And and all of them won't have to come in, may have a particular one. He said that should be considered overtime, if they have to come in.
If I would let Rob give his opinion, since it's his department.
Well, the way it works now, you know, if we have a holiday during the pay period, and I have a guy come in and say he runs the garbage dumpsters, you know, on the holiday, well, he just gets straight time for that because that's a holiday. And I think what Anthony's talking about is anything past from 7 to 3:30, anytime we work, or they work, it don't include me at all. But anytime they work other than 7 to 3:30, it'd be time and a half. Is that what you're trying to say?
that, and if a man has to come in on a holiday, yes, he gets holiday pay, but I think he ought to get time and a half
Right.
for having to come in, because he don't have to come in. He can say, no, I'm not gonna work it. But if a man is good enough to come in on Christmas Eve, to help us keep from garbage being thrown out in the streets, or anything, that's a storm, the tree falls, I mean, and, you know, that's my opinion.
But now, he's getting holiday pay plus straight time.
Right
So
now,
then
that's what it
he's
is.
making double time now.
Right now, he's getting, his holiday pay plus his regular time.
Yeah.
Right.
What about, are we still opening the gate for the dumpster once a month?
Yes, sir. Second Saturday of every month from 8 to 12.
And you paying them straight time, you giving them time off? How
Well, they're getting time and a half if they have the 40 hours during that week. If there's no holidays during that pay period, they are getting time and a half.
So they're covered pretty much already on that.
The problem is when we have a holiday, or they take off for a sick day or a vacation day.
Okay, Rob, let me, and this may be a question that I ought to know the answer to, but we pay every 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, and that's 80-hour pay period.
Yes.
If you work 60 hours week 1 and 20 hours week 2, that's 80 hours.
Right.
You don't get time and a half for the 20 you worked in week 1, do you? Or do you?
Yes, it is split 40. They get anything over 40 in each week.
Each week.
Mhm.
Okay, now, the reason I ask that question is because police and fire are different, aren't they? They've got, theirs calculated based on a 2-week pay period because of shifts. As long as we stay under a certain period of time in 2 weeks, we're okay. But street department people are not, even though we're paying every 2 weeks, they're keeping up with their time on a 40-hour week basis.
Right.
So, in my example, 40 hours plus 10 is 50. And if you only work 30 in week 2, you still get time and a half for those 10 in week 1, even though you're paid every 2 weeks. That's just 80 hours, but some of it was overtime because it was past 40 in week 1.
Yeah, I don't think it's been being that way though.
Okay.
I think mainly what homework called the holiday, them coming in working on the holiday. But I know you got to clarify it.
Yeah, because
It's a 2-week pay period, and if somebody has took off 3 sick days the week before, then they have to work over the second week. You're saying that that second week counted 40, and they had 50, that's 10 hours overtime.
well, I'm just saying, if we truly calculate overtime on street department people based on a 40-hour week, now I know the pay period's 80, but if we're calculating overtime, or we're supposed to be calculating overtime on a 40-hour work week, but paying every 2 weeks, then by my example, working 50 in week 1, working 30 in week 2, you should still get 10 hours overtime. A fireman wouldn't, and a police officer wouldn't, but if we're calculating overtime based on a 40-hour work week, a street department should. And that's what I'm saying, and I just don't know how we're doing it. And I don't know whether we can calculate their hours on 2 weeks, or whether we're supposed to calculate their hours over a 40-hour period. I do know emergency personnel, fire department, police folks, the Fair Labor Standard Act lets us categorize them in a 2-week pay period, and as long as they don't get so many overtime hours in 2 weeks. But, you know, if I'm working at a place, I guess what I'm saying is that if we were paying them weekly, then in week 1 he'd get 10 hours overtime. But because we choose to pay and now week 2 he would only get 30 hours. But still, 30 hours in week 2 and 40 plus time and a half in week 1, yeah, it's more money. So
I see what you're talking about, but I think it's been based on 80 hours in the past before they got it.
Actually, October of 2019, we had to contact Mr. Gaunt about somebody's time. And that's when I know from then on it's been 40 and 40. Now, what happened before that?
I really believe that the only folks that we can do a 2 week, even though we pay 2 weeks, the only folks we can do 2 week are firemen and police officers. Okay, that other people, even though we pay you every 2 weeks, we're supposed to keep up with your time on a 1 week period, and anything over 40 is overtime. And it's got to be 40 physically worked now. I make sure everybody understands that. You can't work 40 and then have 8 hours of holiday pay that you tack in there and say, okay, I've got 48 hours now. No, because you've only physically worked 40. So you can't count overtime, carry overtime or anything like that is to give you that.
But now on that 40 hours, just say one day that 40 is a holiday, that's 8 hours.
Okay.
So that's only 32 hours a day.
That's what he's saying. They're scheduled off because it's a holiday.
Right.
But they have to come in. He said they need to be paid time and a half because they had to come in. Because they're taking that 8 and putting it in that 40. They actually work 32, but they're adding that 8 back to say that it's 40. That's not right if you say an actual work days.
Well, it can be right for purposes of anything under 40, but it can't be right for overtime. Because overtime requires you to physically work the time to get the overtime.
So to answer his complaint about them coming in on an off day, so they need to deny to come in because they're not going to get paid time.
No, because what I thought I just heard somebody say, and maybe I misunderstood, but what I thought I heard somebody say is, let's go back to my example. You've worked, you got a 40-hour week, but one day's a holiday, so you only physically work 32, but you have to come in and work on that holiday because they need somebody to come in. Well, he needs to be paid for his time, plus he needs to get his holiday paid.
Well,
that's the way you compensate.
That's the way it is now, but it's not time and a half.
Right, he's asking for time and a half.
Well, it's double time.
It's double time, though. It should be.
It's double time. You're getting paid for the holiday and you're getting paid for work.
Right.
If you work, but if I work 8 hours, on a holiday and I'm getting paid for those 8 hours, but I'm also getting that 8 hours of holiday pay, I'm getting paid double time, not time and a half, which is more than overtime. It's double time.
All right, can I say this? Okay, Jimmy, you're saying that's double time for a holiday.
Yeah.
Okay, what if they have to come in at midnight the night before the holiday?
I don't
That's
know.
straight time. That ain't double time. That's straight time. But that night he has to come in because of storm or something like that, then that's gonna cause him to get paid straight time because the next day's a holiday.
I mean, I think you come in at midnight, then those hours up to 7 o'clock, it probably will be double time, or time and a half.
No, they won't, because the next day's a holiday.
Yeah, but they're counting that 8 hours.
Yeah, and you're
He'll
counting holiday too.
he'll have 48 hours, or 46 hours if he works 6 hours.
Okay, is it on 80 or is it on 40? I've heard one way it's on 80, and I've
They
heard
told
one
you
way it's
after
on
this.
40.
She says it's on, and I thought it was on 40, and
It's
she
on
says
40 now.
that, she says that the Fair Labor Standards Act expert we've got, that,
Gone.
So you're saying that, okay, a 40-hour week, so
Jim Gall.
if the man has to come in on Christmas Eve for that week, it's straight time. Even though you're saying it's double time because he's getting holiday pay. Well, everybody's getting holiday pay.
Yeah, but if he works, he'll get another pay shift.
My personal opinion, I think he should get time and a half.
I don't know.
So it'd be 2 times and a half.
What I was asking.
Be double time.
I mean,
You can.
He's getting holiday pay, but he's
You
getting
can set up a
time and a half
resolution any way you
coming
want.
in and working,
Yeah, that's
but he
the
don't
next
have to.
Right, but that's double time and a half is what it is.
Which you do, I mean, Todd needs to tell you if you do, I don't know,
What?
you can change how you pay it. Set it up in resolution form and just do the street department different.
Well,
But I
I'm
don't know what you'd be
I'm not
subject to if
just
you
saying
change it.
Oh, I mean, as long as, the only way the Fair Labor Standards Act would apply to this whole equation is, that's the minimum standard. If we pay them more than that, and we meet that and exceed that, we're fine. We don't have to do that as a template, is all we do. We can do more than that, but we
Right.
must,
Right.
under the Fair Labor Standards Act, we must pay them time and a half. As I understand what Jim Galt says, we must pay them time and a half as a street department for any hour physically worked over 40 in 1 week. Over 40 in 1 week, we must pay them time and a half for any hour physically worked over 40 in that week.
That's the way I understand it.
So it's not 80, it's 40. It's not 50 and 30. Like I said, if it's 50 and 30, then that's 30 straight hours, 40 straight hours, and 10 time and a half hours. Because it's got to be based on on a 40-hour week instead of an 80-hour 2 week. According to Jim Galt, and he's our expert, he's the one we use. So, but we can do, I don't want anybody to think what I'm saying is we can't do what Anthony says. I'm not saying that. But we got to do at least this, and that's the only thing I was trying to address is this. We can, if we want to do that, as long as we're doing at least this, we can do that. And we can pass a resolution and do that. It's not a problem.
But now, I agree with that. I feel like that's what needs to happen. If somebody comes in and puts them over the 40-hour, they need to get, unlike Anthony, if they come in on a holiday like that, but like Todd said, it's gotta be physically worked. Sick time, if they take a sick day or whatever, and that covers the 8 hours, that's not gonna be physically worked, those 8 hours are not. And if you gotta be careful, because they'll figure out ways that will try to manipulate the system.
But I mean, is the police department done any different? The fire department done any different? If they have to work on a holiday?
They get their holiday check and they still go on.
We get holiday in addition to our regular pay.
But you don't get time and a half for that holiday
No, we don't hit time and a half for.
until you get 83 or something, 83 or
It's
84.
actually 106 for police, or for
Fire.
fire. I think it's less than that.
It's 83 or 84 for police.
86.
86. Well, I was close. I just all around it, wasn't I? I wasn't even close. Throwing numbers out there. But, and the fire department's different because they do have some, you're working 24 hours, so you do have some in that 106, you've got some downtime when you're not, yeah. So that's the reason they say 106 for y'all, but police officers, when they're on duty, they're on duty.
I'm not sure. It seemed like I heard one time it was based on the number of employees in certain departments too. I'm not exactly how that was. I do know it's 106 for fire.
But I don't want anything that I said to make anybody believe that I don't think they should get extra time, extra pay when they come in on a holiday. It's not what I was saying. I wasn't addressing that. I was just addressing, trying to get to the bottom of whether it's 40 or 80, and that, because we pay them a 2-week period.
Any other council members got any comment or talk, any yeas or nays or questions about what Anthony's going to do for making that time and a half when they have to come in on a holiday? I don't have no problem with, I mean, I always look at things like, I'm not gonna ask somebody to jump the ditch if I would jump in myself. I mean, it's just like if I'm off for Christmas, I look at it as how I would expect to be treated if I had to go. I feel like that I feel like that I ought to be paid above a little bit more for coming in on a holiday when nobody else is, or having to. So I mean, based on that, if
You're getting double time.
yeah, it needs to be time and a half. I'm okay with, I'm all right with coming. I can ask for a motion to do it that way. It's just I want, which I think Todd, I think that Rob will oversee and, make sure that it's not abused by taking time off it, because they take, sick days and different kind of days and get your hours and everything and try to keep the check the same. Well, yeah, I'm gonna ask to pass a resolution.
If I could, I'd like to see that for all the other departments as well, because there's lots of times when my guys have to come in on holidays as well, and I appreciate Rob for taking that for his guys, but I'm going to take that for mine too. And even Regina, things break at the library. There are times when
You're paying overtime now, aren't you?
we rarely have overtime. But now, holidays are our biggest rental days, and a lot of times the guys have to come in if something happens,
Both y'all have overtime during meal day.
That's
I
when
know
we're only
Rob
times.
has a substantial amount of overtime during meal day. How are they, we don't have no holiday during, but we're paying time and a half for the hours they work over on mule day. And they're already doing that for you
Yes, sir.
in your department. Now,
I just like to see
kind
the
of
same.
give me a scenario why you would have overtime. We know why he would have overtime as far as garbage. Give me a scenario on how you would have extra overtime other than the normal business.
This has happened 3 years ago, maybe on Park Day. We had a holiday and that, and of course they didn't get their overtime then. But another one would be like on weekend rentals when there's a holiday. If something happens and water line breaks, bathrooms stop up, we have tournaments on the holiday weekend, something like that, the guys have to get garbage and clean bathrooms at the park then as well. I'm not trying to be difficult, I just want to be fair.
No, but we're gonna be fair. I mean, I want to be fair, but I want to make sure that it's not taken advantage of. We've had in the past, when we first come in my first administration, we've had issues with comp time and overtime and different things. I mean, like I said, I won't jump the ditch unless, I won't ask somebody to jump in if I won't jump in it, but.
Overtime is pre-approved, right?
Ma'am?
And overtime is pre-approved unless it's an emergency.
Yeah, we always try to get overtime pre-approved. So you're saying that you would have overtime in an emergency just like Rob would?
It's rare, but it could happen.
You got how many full-time
3.
employees?
3 of the maintenance guys, and then Sandy. But no, we wouldn't need overtime for Sandy unless it's something crazy.
What about you, Rob? How many full-time employees you got?
Sir,
How many?
I got 7.
7.
But I'm more, I just have one person on holidays. I usually have one person come in and run the garbage dump, take care of the restaurants and stuff like that. I mean, it's something we really have to do, I mean, it's not, we're just coming in because we want to work. We have to get out there and get the garbage up on the restaurants and stuff, holidays or not, and in the hospital. We pick the hospital up every day.
Has the council got any comments or questions? for Jim doing the same.
No, I mean, I agree with what she's saying, but if you got two department heads that it's their responsibility to see to it that it's not took advantage of. And I mean, if it's took advantage of, then it comes back to us, then then everybody can lose it. I mean, it can be changed back and say, hey, we can't do it this way because we're grown people. I mean, but I just feel like that a man shouldn't get punished because of it being a holiday. But I mean, what's the odds? What's the odds of how many hours a year do y'all think that it might happen? I mean, Bobby works. He gets called in. I mean, I understand with fire and police, but I mean, they work. Alan's boys work 24 hours straight, you know. But I mean, my opinion is that man's working 24 hours straight, and he can't get nobody part-time to fill in, and he has to get a man. If that man goes over his hours, like you're talking about, then his whole 24 hours ought to be time and a half. Is it? He should.
Anything over 106 hours within 2 weeks fires.
Yeah, it's gotta be 106 in 2 weeks before it's overtime.
Yeah.
We had that issue when we had the fire down here at Cotton Mill at Winfield River.
We've run into that issue a little bit since we've changed shifts because we upped our 2 week numbers really from 84 to 96. So that 96 put us that much closer to that 106. So that was another thing about the part-time level.
And I mean.
Well, I can just say this. We can sit here and I mean, if it wasn't for them, when we need them, we need them. I mean, what I'm getting at is like, for example, the police and the fire the other night, I need them. And I mean, you know, they was there.
But I want to make clear, I'm not trying to, I don't mind the guys getting overtime if it calls for it. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to, there may be cases where we still get some overtime on calls.
Well, we try to look at, you know, your department's different.
Yes,
Police
yeah, we're
department's
really,
different from the
we're
street
totally
department, you know, we're trying to, and I don't have a problem with time and a half for anybody having to come in during, I mean, because the way these storms and things different things we've been having, there's gonna have to be some people, you know, and I feel like that they need to be paid to come in, you know, if it's not their normal hour time, it needs to be paid a time and a half. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But we probably need to, that's what I was looking at over the different departments, that's pretty much gonna, I mean, there wouldn't be no reason not to add the park with the street department when we pass that resolution. The fire department does, the police department's already pretty much set up that way when they reach their hours. So, you know, I'd make a recommendation to the council to do that. We'll pay time and a half, anything over 40 per week.
I'll make a motion, we'll pay time and a half.
So if they get a holiday, does that knock them down to 32 and they don't get it, or how's that go? I want to understand.
If the city's shut down, they've been adding that 8 to make that 40. But if they come in, Barbara's truck comes in or whatever, somebody at the park has to come in because of some kind of accident or whatever, and then get time and a half for coming back in. I want to put that in the resolution, in the form of a resolution to pass that. You know, if your day's off, you're off that day, and you have to come in time and a half. I mean, that's pretty much what we're looking at.
Yeah, if you have to come in and physically work
Right.
on a day that
What'd you do?
we're shut down or you're not supposed to work, but you have to get called in.
Oh, here it is.
Well, that would be vacation too.
Yeah.
If you're on vacation, if you've got a vacation.
That's right. If it's a vacation.
And they call you in to work, you get your vacation pay, because that's what you earn, plus you get paid time and a half for those hours that you work, that you get called in during your vacation after work.
And I think it's already clear that way, that's not salaried employees, that's for what I call laborers.
I think it ought to be a have to. I don't think it ought to be just because it's rained all week long and then Saturday's first. I don't think it ought to be that. I think it needs to be where it's a, we,
Like a weather emergency.
well, like a weather emergency or like they have to, like the garbage truck got. In other words, you know.
Oh, I think you put that, Anthony, I think you put that on your department heads.
Yeah.
If the department head calls you in and asks you to come in, on a day that you don't normally work, if you have to come in, then you put it on the department head. If you do that, then,
But I'm not saying just come in just cause it's just work 8 hours.
oh, I understand that, but I mean,
think
that's,
it ought to be coming in and.
It's an emergency situation.
Right.
actually, as determined and needed by the department head.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And then,
They would.
and
Well,
that
I'd like to ask the council.
includes sick also, holiday, sick, or vacation regardless
Well,
of.
I really
We're
think
not
we
gonna
ought
call them in now if it's sick. Now, I'm gonna stop that right there, I think. I don't, we can't, I mean, if you're gonna call somebody that's in sick, I mean, I can understand the department head, Bob had to come in if he's got the flu. Huh?
I'm not gonna call anybody in sick. I think Angie talked about if they had a sick day earlier in the week
Or after.
or
Say
after
they
either
have it
one.
after.
No, we're beyond that.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with hours worked. It doesn't have anything to do with hours worked. This is if you're scheduled off day
Right.
and you get
Scheduled
called
off
in
day.
by your department head to come in
Holiday
and
or
cover.
vacation day, and you call in work for time and a half.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think we need to do
that's
that.
what y'all understand, how you understand it. I mean, if they work, they have sick day on Monday and Thursday, they're supposed to be off because of holiday, and they had to come in, that's time and a half.
I just think that it needs to be a written resolution.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Okay.
Resolution 1254.
And we need to write it up and adopt it in language that everybody's good with.
And we'll act
So there's
on
not
it.
any misunderstanding.
I just need a motion and second to put it in form of resolution, and we'll pass a resolution next council.
Yeah.
Motion. I'll second the motion. Say, all in favor? 1254. Todd?
Mayor, I'm gonna put mine off at next week.
You know, skip.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we okay with that, we're gonna skip line 8. Next item on the agenda is, Sitel, 1254. The next item on the agenda is Sitel. Been working with this company that owns this building. We've come to an agreement to purchase this building. We've done title search, done all the labor work to make this come to pass. I need the council to okay for me to put that out for bid to where when they come, I hope it's gonna be before the end of this month in February, and it's gonna be before the next meeting. It's gonna be before our next regular scheduled council meeting.
It's next week, man, next Tuesday.
In 28. What is,
It's next week, third or fourth. Fourth.
yeah, I hope to have it done by this Friday. And I want to put this out for bid. And we have to put this bid to all council, okay, we need to put out the bid from the 3 local banks to what their rate would be to loan us the money to purchase this building. Or we're gonna have to have a special call meeting, or how we're gonna need to approve those bids before next council meeting. I feel like I might write a check between these.
I talked to Diane about that today, by the way. Yeah. Well, we can't have a meeting by the 28th, can we?
No,
It's Friday.
no, we write a check and then cover it later. If not on Friday, it's not gonna get there till Monday anyways.
We're not gonna put that in the paper.
Post date.
We're not gonna put that in the paper.
Saturday's first day. Well, I'd like to know more details on this.
This,
29. Oh, okay.
the 20 acres of land in the Sitel building, we've agreed to, the guy that I've been working with on it with Sitel, he's the property manager, I guess, or whatever for them. They're willing to take $375 for the building in 20 acres.
How are we gonna pay for that? We can't pay for road.
We're gonna make it on monthly payment.
Is Tiffany wanting
I got prospects for it.
it? Let them buy it.
I don't have that kind of prospect.
I'm not for us buying it myself.
It's a $375,000 purchase for that building, and the 20 acres is with it. They have been out of that building since 2007, 2008. Well, on 2007, 2008, they've been out of that building, been empty.
And it's full of mold. I went over there and looked at it.
But you're already against it, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, I'm for it, so I'm trying to explain to the rest of the council.
Well, I'm trying to explain what I know too.
When did you go in it?
Last year, maybe a year before last.
They've hired a company to come in and take everything out, all the drop ceiling, took everything out and done drainage work on the outside where it wouldn't be for the mold. And I've been in the building in the last 2 months, there's no mold in it. I've turned down 2 manufacturing companies last year that would employ 80 people. They would have took that building, I went and told them that building, but I could not get Sitel to agree to rent it, lease it, sell it, or nothing. I mean, I've been trying ever since I've been in office to get them to at least move on that building. The appraised value of that building is $2.6 million is what they're charging tax on that. They pay the property tax is around $18,000 a year is what's being charged on that building. For $375,000 to get that building back, I think is, in my opinion, is a real no-brainer. Because of what I've done turned down, because of not having anywhere to put anybody. If somebody comes in today or tomorrow and wants to employ 50 to 80 people and says we need a building, what do you got? Well, we got, I really don't have that. No amount of square feet, you know. I don't have 10,000 square feet. I don't even have 15,000. I don't have 8,000 square feet to put anybody in. And a building of that size that I've done turned down, you employ 80 people. That building will probably, I don't have 200 to 300 people worked in that building before once Sitel was there. I think now that was before my time when in office, but I think we had nearly 200 people employed in that building before. I've had other, I don't want to say who I've had look at that building, but I've had other people that's interested in that building. But I feel like the city needs to purchase the building for the amount that we're getting it for. It's just like with Winfield Rubber, the old cotton mill, when that deal come up in Bill West time. The city turned around and purchased that building, and that's been nearly 20 years ago. And they're employing right at 40 people now in that building. They've got a big contract. To be able to have somewhere to put somebody when they come is very, you've seen what Hamilton built a spec building, set on it, and finally John Bigby moved up there. Fett built a spec building, set on it. I'm talking upper $1 million. 1 point something to build those buildings. $375,000 with 20 acres of land that joins the railroad over there that already joins the city property. And the other manufacturing that's in front of it, and the potential property that's beside it, I feel like that it's a no-brainer. I mean, you know, for whatever reason, sometimes, and we got the money on CD to pay for the building. I mean, we try to keep our reserve up in case of emergencies and different things, so we really don't want to step into a reserve. But to be able to come in there and spend $375,000, pay $10,000 a month or whatever back toward the payment of it, I don't think that we're going to be sitting on the building very, very, very long before somebody's not in it with jobs, which creates traffic, which creates sales tax dollars. I just, you know, all I can say is I put it out there. I have put it out there and worked hard to try to get it. And if it don't happen, it don't happen. But I'm going to stand up and say I had it to where it happened. You know, there's a few other things that went down because of other people had control of it and caused us not to happen. I feel like it'd be better with the city in control of it to make things happen instead of letting somebody get it and then lock, what I'd call landlock it to where we can't get it, because that's the situation we've been in the last 11 or 12 years with it. Couldn't do nothing with it. And it was a sour taste in people's mouths, especially the county commission. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the county commission still paying on that building. They're part of what they did on it. And they're going to be upset probably that we get it, and they're still paying on it. But it's an advantage to them to start with. If we can get it and get jobs in it, it's going to help not only the city, it's going to help the county. It's going to help the state. I mean, anytime we put people to work in different places, but there's so much potential for that building, and I mean, there's so many different things. We need it to where we can govern what goes in there, and it's not somebody that's got plenty of money to hold it. With that being said, I think that it will be clear how I feel on it, and of course I've worked trying to get it, and I've got this guy to finally agree to do it. I'm going to ask the council to go by my recommendation that we purchase this property back from Sitel, and I'm going to ask the council to give me the authority to put it out for bid to 3 local banks to to finance it, and we'll set it up on payments. I've already spoke with our accountant, and that's the best way, which that's kind of how I felt like we need to do it anyway. It's a capital gain. It's a win-win situation. We stay on our reserve and we pay this building out. I need to ask for a motion to purchase this building and set it out for bid for finance.
375, and it's a building 20 acres.
You need to ask for a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? No.
I'm a no.
And you're no.
Now that, I included in that, Todd, you can tell me if I've done wrong, I included that I'm going to be able to put it out for bid. The purchase of it. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, that entails borrowing the money to make the purchase and then bidding out the borrowing of the money.
Right. I appreciate that. I think that you'll mark that down as a safety precaution. I understand being safety, not spending $375,000. I understand it. I totally understand it. But I have to look at the other side of it when I have to turn people down and not be able to have somewhere to put them when they need them. And like I said, I did say that I've been in it with employers in the last 6 months, 2 different times with 2 different employers. I feel like that you're going to see a lot happen.
Well, I mean, for me, Mayor, I mean, we've got a building which we don't own on 129, which we were part of getting here on 129 on the rail. I mean, it's been sitting there a year, Mr. Gray Land. So I looked at that, and obviously that wasn't our money. But, you know, we invested partly in that with the paving of the roads, and it's sitting there empty. And I just don't think it's good at this time for us to invest that kind of money in that with no, you know, sure deals, you know, lined up. But, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and it would be good if we had something, and that was the reason for my no vote. I just wanted to clarify that. I mean, it's not that I'm against it, I just want, you know, I would like to have a contract, I guess.
I understand.
Yeah,
We always agree to disagree.
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, next item on the agenda is old business. Does anybody, any of the council members got old business? Go ahead, Bill.
Are we anywhere else, I mean, I don't know if you can answer, or maybe Todd, where are we at on the issue? I know we've got a house on St. Carter Estates that's been on the table for about 3 years now. And we've got another one in Meadowwood that's on the table.
Two in Meadowwood.
Oh, well, I don't know about, yeah. you're
All
right.
about the same person, all three about the same.
Correct, that's right. So, you know, I'm ready to move forward with this, and, you know, whatever we gotta do, I'm ready to, you know, if we have to take it down, put lanes on his property, whatever we need to do, I'm ready.
Yeah, I've been there, I've been there.
Yeah, you know,
I mean, I've been there.
yeah, well, you ought to be in my shoes.
You need to do like you did. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say
Keep
that.
it to yourself, Todd, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it to myself. I fixed to throw Randy under the bus on something.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And it, and, you know, it's kind of like, if it's left up to us, we've done it, you know, but we have to be careful how we do it, and we made steps when we passed, we made sure ordinances is in order. Make sure that we go through the proper steps, and I know everybody thinks that we're just putting it off. That's not the case. That's not the case. That's just like, I've never seen so many people get so mad when you do a paving project. I'm like, why does people get mad when we pave roads? I don't understand that. We go 25, 50 years not paving no roads, and what is roads they paving? Everybody wants the roads paved, but when you start paving, people's matter. They're madder because you're paving.
Sure.
You didn't pave theirs, you paved his.
Yeah, exactly right. And we bounced all over the city. We've done, I mean, we're making progress. I mean, it's like every road's on my list. I mean, I want to see every road. If I had the money, if the city had the money, we'd curb and gutter every road. We'd pave some of them in brick. We'd make brick pavers in some of them. But we got to do it if we got the money in the worst case scenario. I don't get started out on that. But I just spoke. We got this abatement board in order now. We've had one of the key players. I say key players. Everybody's a key player in that pass away, and we've got a new person coming in. I've spoke with another neighboring town with how they handle it with their fire chief and different things. It's one of those things you have to put the group together, and then finally, once you've done it, once we get started and we have done it the right way, the next one will be a whole lot simpler.
Right.
Everything's gonna fall right in place because we know the steps to go through. But when we've just come in and been faced with this, we tore the city paid and still haven't collected that down. But I'm gonna get with Mike and Todd, but I think we can collect where we have, if we hadn't got too far. For certain reasons, I think that we still get our money that we spent on this one that we tore down back here behind the cable. That, you know, I'm not per se worried about the money, what it's gonna cost, because the city's gonna have to pay it because it needs to be done. And I mean, for the amount of money that it is, $3,000 or $4,000, what it's gonna cost to tear it down and have it removed, I'm not gonna use that excuse if we don't have the money, because that's not the reason. The reason is just to make sure, which Todd knows it's a little bit of a painful task to make sure that we are in our limits of what we're doing. We're back close. I mean, I feel like by spring, we will see something on more than just that. I've got about 28 houses, roughly 28 houses on the list that needs to be removed in town. You think 28, yeah.
Make it.
Yeah. About 28. I was going to apply for a grant this year to do that with and include those, but there again, those three probably gonna be a different situation because when we do a grant, the landowner's gotta sign off on it. And sometimes the landowner won't sign off on it. Then we have to condemn it and go through that process. You know, we had an instance, I'm not gonna call them names, we had an instance where we were gonna condemn a building. It was hard to get somebody to come in and appraise it because they didn't want to be tied up in a lawsuit. They didn't want to be tied up in court dealing with the person that owned it because they knew how it was going to be. We don't want to keep paying legal fees when we don't have to represent us. It's hard when somebody don't want to get on property appraised that you can't make them. We run into that issue before. But going back to the grant, it's going to have to go back over into next year, that grant, because I'm gonna have to use that grant. I'm trying to use that grant money that would have been available for that to fix this over here at Shadowwood. We've got a major issue right there that's got to be addressed, and I'm gonna have to, I've had an engineer look at it, and I'm trying to apply for a grant to fix that. That's the same money. I won't be able to use those two. I can't do both those projects in the same year, but I can do it the next year. And I'm not saying that's gonna stop what we're trying to do for is making them get cleaned up. Those get cleaned up. I'm just saying there's 28 houses that needs to go. It's got to be tore down, and I'm gonna try to get those in next year. That's not counting those three. But I'm gonna make it a priority, to see to it that something's done with them this year.
So hopefully by the spring we can see something possibly.
I hope before that.
It's not gonna be long, next month.
This spring's already here because stuff's budding. I'm starting to get allergy a little bit because of the buds.
To the phone call that kid, I hope it's
Anybody else got any other? You can. Tell me, which I need to. We still got an issue with Gina's, Gina's not here. We still got issues with two places that eat and code. Library and this building back here. I'm working on getting some. I've got to show it to Todd. Hello. I showed it to Todd. I'm gonna get with him to see if I need to put that out for bid instead of getting bids. I'm kind of borderline, but we're gonna have to have somebody to do the specs if I put it out for bid to spec it. You know what I'm saying? How it needs to be, where it be. When the units is that big, you're talking about 10, 12 ton units. It's hard to compare. You got so many different brands out there. York, Train,
Carrier.
Carrier.
Wondering if you ought to, at the very least, Mayor, get somebody get an engineer or somebody to come over there and measure it and do the workup on it and make a suggestion for what tonnage unit we need, what kind of airflow we need, rather than just, somebody tells us we need 10 ton, well, you got 10 ton to do it. I don't know. And if they represent 10 ton to do it, I think it will, and then all of a sudden it ain't working. So maybe get somebody to come look at it.
I'm not comfortable with work out so far. Are you?
That's kind of why I said, maybe we'll get somebody to come look at it. Without having to say that, I just gonna say, maybe we'll get somebody to come look at it and make a recommendation on what we might need.
Bids on it, Mayor?
I've been trying to get some. But I don't want to, because what you run into is you ain't careful, you'll make this heat and cooling people mad at, because they're not compared to something, they're not the same. It's not apples to apples. And that's the key thing.
pretty close. I mean, really.
That's where getting your engineer and get him to give you a list, and then you can give that list to the, then you got apple to apple,
Like a business,
like this, right?
I think
And
that's
if it
what
don't
I'm,
work, and if it don't work right, then you bring it to engineers, they
yeah,
work.
I think that's what I'm gonna do now.
What the hell are you for?
We'll
And
do
this
this
is
over
what they got a
advertising.
bid on, not been bidding on what.
I still feel better advertising. If I can get a bid sheet. It don't cost that much money in the paper to advertise it, just take bids, and I think we're the best thing to do, Tom. That way it'll be fair. And I don't, I don't wanna make no business person mad because somebody else got it and they wasn't the same. Let's see if I've got y'all heard me say earlier that they put that out for bid for the industrial park, so that's just be moving. That's gonna be major, I tell you about it, getting that road put in there.
You gonna try to get a grant at that? You talking about trying to get a grant in there at Chattanooga?
Yeah.
That's got to be done. I mean, that's something, I seen it one day.
Oh, yeah, that's done. The all been there, what, this past 2 weeks, 3 times, 4 times?
I've been every day.
He has to go in,
I check on it every day.
it collapses, and he has to fill it back up with rock.
Yeah, it's gonna get the
And
whole
the
look.
water's probably cooling up and getting in that house.
Yeah, that's the.
We put sandbags in her basement there this past week.
Yeah.
Got some EMA,
Yeah.
sandbag her over there.
We did pay for a house.
Nobody else has got nothing more. I'm going to ask for a motion to pay the bill.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It asks for a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Mayor, we replaced our unit, so we're good.
Ma'am?
We replaced our unit over at the Civic Center, so we're good.
I appreciate y'all taking my
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.